Hey everyone, today we're heading to the backyard to grill up some vegan burgers. That's right, being vegan doesn't mean missing out on barbecue season. But in order to successfully grill up an amazing barbecue vegan burger, we need to go over some simple tips to avoid some common burger blunders. And most of these tips are just general grilling tips, so they aren't necessarily vegan specific, but I thought I'd put together a video for my fellow vegans who are new to grilling and want to avoid these burger blunders. And the first blunder is not prepping enough. I honestly think that this is just as important as the actual grilling, since it will ensure you have everything you need ready to go before the first patty hits the grill. There's nothing worse than realizing you forgot your spatula when it comes time to flip the burger and you gotta run back in the house to get it like a bozo. Now, on to prepping the burgers, and I'm sure you're all familiar with this. This is what I call the baseball burger. The patty is too thick and the burger to bun ratio is way off. This kind of thing is a huge burger blunder, and look, I know this is kind of an exaggerated example, though I have gotten burgers that look pretty similar handed to me before, and I've probably made some like this when I first started grilling, and it's because I didn't plan ahead, so let's see how we can avoid it. First, figure out what size buns you want to use. In the US, we typically have two kinds of burger buns at the store. These smaller ones that are similar to a McDonald's cheeseburger size, and they run about 3.5 inches. And then the other is these jumbo size buns, which clock in at about 4.5 inches. I like both. The bigger ones are good if you're just planning on having a burger, but if you're at a barbecue with a bunch of different options, the smaller one is great for a smaller burger so you can sample more food. Either way, the size of the bun will dictate the size of your patty. I like to make mine slightly bigger than the bun, and for the smaller buns, I find that 4 ounces of plant-based meat is perfect. I recommend using cookie cutters like this to form your patties, but you can do it by hand too. For the bigger buns, 6 ounces of plant-based meat is the best, and you just want to make sure you don't make the patties too thin as they will dry out, and that is also a burger blender. So I recommend keeping the patties at least a 1/2 inch thick. I'll go ahead and stack mine on these little burger papers and then stash them in the fridge until needed. And obviously, if you want to skip this whole thing and just use the pre-made patties, go for it. For me, they just aren't worth it since they're a little bit pricier and I like to form my own patties. But you do whatever you like, just make sure the bun to burger ratio isn't sad and pathetic like this. Now for the seasoning, I personally will just go with salt and pepper, but feel free to use whatever you like. Some people like these all-in-one kind of thing, so if that's you, then by all means, do it up. If you do go for pepper and salt, I recommend making a blend and storing it in a seasoning shaker like this, if possible. The less things you have to worry about cluttering up your grilling area, the better. Now for the cheese, I prefer vegan American slices as they tend to melt the best, but again, use whatever you like. Just remember to melt your cheese, as unmelted cheese is also, you guessed it, a burger blender. Lastly, for the toppings, I'm not going to go too in-depth on this because everyone has their preferences, but I would say at minimum you should have some pickles and some kind of a sauce. Sure, ketchup and mustard is fine, but I found that a good sauce will really win people and their taste buds over. If you do decide on things like lettuce, tomato, and onions, just make sure you prep them beforehand and keep them in some kind of container for easy access. It sounds simple, I know, but I've definitely seen people frantically cutting tomatoes before the burgers overcook. And for a sauce, I really recommend experimenting with it. I usually start with vegan mayo as a base and will add other condiments like ketchup, mustard, dill, or sweet relish, maybe some vinegar or seasonings like onion or garlic powder, smoked paprika, really the list goes on. Today I'm making a simple peri-peri mayo, which is literally just vegan mayo and this peri-peri sauce from Trader Joe's. I'm also going to plus it up with some onion and garlic powder and this spicy steak seasoning because why not? Now, I like using a squirt bottle, it's just my personal preference, but you can also get a mason jar or a Tupperware and a spoon as well. If you do go the squirt bottle route, just be mindful of things like relish, as the little pieces of pickle will clog up the bottle. As for our tools, I recommend a sturdy spatula for burgers. You can use the ones like this or a longer one like this if you got a really hot grill. That is a good idea. I'm also going to use this coffee mug with a bit of vegetable oil in it, and then this brush as well as some paper towels and tongs to grease up the grill. I also like to put everything in a container like this or a baking sheet like so, and this will make hauling stuff to the backyard a lot easier and cleanup will be a lot faster too. And I am using a gas grill. I used to use charcoal, but now that I'm older, I'm also more impatient. But check the link in the description for a great video on charcoal grills if you need it. And I'm going to clean the grates before we get started because not cleaning the grates on an otherwise dirty grill is definitely a burger blender. So let your grill get nice and hot, and I'm going to start it up and close the lid and wait about 5 to 10 minutes or until the temperature is between 400 to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we'll get our wire brush and give it a good old brushing. And the reason why you want to wait until it's hot is because any leftover crud will loosen up a lot easier when it's smoking hot. Now, putting burgers on a dry grate is also a burger blender, so let's get a paper towel. We're going to fold it up and then dip it in some of that oil, and then using tongs, we'll go ahead and grease up the grates like so. And now this is optional, but I'm also going to brush some oil on the burgers and then season them with my salt and pepper blend. And then we'll just throw them on the grill, and after a few minutes you might start to see some juices at the top, so that's a good sign to flip them. And then we'll add our vegan cheese and close the lid, and whatever you do, don't just add vegan cheese to a cooked burger like this. Probably my least favorite burger blender of all time, vegan cheese needs a little longer to melt than I remember dairy cheese, so just let it cook covered for at least 1 to 2 minutes or until melted like so, and now we've got a pretty dang good vegan cheeseburger. So remove those from the grill and put them on an untoasted burger bun. Just joking, that is also a burger blender, so add your buns to the grill and just grill them over high heat for 20 seconds or so. On the flip side, make sure you don't forget about your buns or else they might come out looking something like this. But to your toasted bun, add your cheeseburger, some pickles, and that sauce. Look at how easy that is with the squirt bottle. And now it's time to dig in, and I gotta say, the charbroiled flavor really elevates this, and that sauce, holy moly. Honestly, all you need on a barbecue burger is a good sauce and some pickles. That's just my opinion though, even though I am totally correct. And just for fun, I went ahead and cooked up a Beyond Burger and an Impossible Burger to see which one fared best. I don't want to make this into a competition, but I guess I sort of am. And in any case, the Beyond is up first, and my initial reaction was that this is a pretty tasty burger. They've toned down that Beyond flavor aftertaste, and it's much more neutral now, and I dig it a lot more than I used to. And then next up now is the Impossible, and I gotta say, I dug it a little bit better. It actually had a bit more of a meaty sort of flavor. I think people these days are using the word unctuous. I kind of hate that word, but that's what I would say. It's a bit more unctuous and savory and just kind of more meaty tasting in general. But that being said, they're both super good. And no matter which one you choose, I hope this video has been helpful for you. And if you want to grill up some hot dogs, check out my bacon wrapped hot dog video link right here. Thank y'all, and I'll see you next time.